So even not for football, what would my life become? I would have ended up one of the, if not an armed robber, I would end up one of the bad boys in town, one of the militants that will be raging the nation or even the Niger Delta, because I grew up in that compound and in that association and in that ground. I was brought up from a home where you have, this character of African fathers. That if they extend the word or they say something, you must obey it, you must follow the instruction, or else you are out of it. So somehow, after my primary school, he intended for me to do a roadside mechanic. I did not object it. I was okay with it. But where my mother is coming from, she's okay, he's fine. This young boy, I agree with you, but allow him to at least enroll himself to in the secondary school. Maybe he can go through class 1, class 2. In the process of that, if he's in the office, after his job, if somebody brings in money, he will be able to at least exchange the money and even give it change, and also know how to write his name. That was the argument. That was my mother's own side of view. And my father objected it, and for sudden it shut down. And he wasn't talking to her again, he was not talking to me again. So one day he came in late night, by 1 o'clock in the morning. He was drunk. The next thing he said, in as much as I will not comply to his word, my mother will not subject to his instruction to leave his house. So he came in and just picked my mother's load and properties, threw it outside on the road, picked my belongings, threw them outside on the road. We had to do a trek, walking for almost 2 hours before we could get to the water side, to the bank where we could fetch a boat to go to the fishing port. We got to the water side around 3 o'clock in the morning. From there, she has to sit, look for some of our sisters, brothers, and people she could walk through to get some money. She got that and were able to board the boat and leave for the fishing port. That was how the turning point started. So I got to the fishing port. I was there for like 6 months with her. And the most terrifying thing is that I don't even know how to swim. But, she will go out and, connect with these fishermen. Then they will hire me on the boat. I will leave for the Atlantic to go and, look for fish. I was there for 6 months. I will go fishing. Then I will fetch firewood, bring it, and I'll sling it, break it down into portions. I'm going to sell it, so my portion I will use it to give her. Also, the fishermen will leave. Sometimes we'll leave by 4 or 5 in the evening. We're not going to be back till 4 or 5 in the evening the next morning. It was that madness. So I was there like for 6 months or a year. And I could check through my life that this is not, I can have a living here. And in the process of this, I have no future. I look for myself that I'm gifted right from, because I've been playing with Sharks the junior team, and I was one of the best youth players then in the youth team. So I knew in within me there is a certain kind of gift and talent, and I was having all this, the tenacity, the heart, the mind to be a soccer player. That was the major thing that was running through my mind and my person. So one of these days the boat came in. Before she knew, I escaped from where we were making, we're in the marketing place. I escaped from her not seeing me. I jumped into the boat and hide myself. So getting to Port Harcourt, I was having a coach called Monday Sinclair, who was the coach of the Sharks Football Club then. Also, He was a man who have an enormous depth about football. So he was coaching the first team. He wanted to build a feeder team behind the first team that would be like a backup team to support the first team. So I went there for a screening and trials. I was picked among one of the young men and the young lads. And if not for that, I would have ended up one of the, if not an armed robber, I would end up one of the bad boys in town. Coach Sinclair was more of a father to me than a coach. I learned how to, grow from a street footballer to become a world-class star. Because at that age, at that time, he was telling us most of us are going to put on the national team call for Nigeria and all that. So those inspiring words encouraged me, and I was able to pick up a lot from him that helped me to develop me to get to where I am today. Like education, sports is a bastion of hope for young men and women, whether or not they are afforded the privilege of living a life of plenty. Sports is a great equalizer, and we do ourselves a great service if, as a society, we begin to pay attention.